Well, welcome to AlienGearIWB's podcast. This is Behind the Barrel. I have my good friend Grayson Cross here today, and he's brought some really fun guns, man. I'm excited to talk about these pretty cool finds. If you're just joining us on Spotify, you can follow us on YouTube, AlienGearIWB. Also check us out on Apple Music as well. Grayson, thanks for being here, man.
Yeah,
good to have you. Episode 1, man.
Yeah, I hope we can look back at this in a few years and say, man, that was horrible. Look at how much better we are now.
Yeah, we will. For sure.
So.
Look how far we've come.
Oh, man.
Speaking of looking how far we've come, you brought some pretty cool guns with you today to check out, right?
Yeah,
Thinking about how far we've come. I know the first one, there was a contractor for the U.S. government in Hue, Vietnam in 1968, and he saw a lot of casualties due to some of the rules of engagement.
Right,
I guess,
yeah, exactly.
Right, and so he had an idea of something pretty dang cool, right?
Right. So when we go into today's show, the whole our whole principle is like we have 3 guns and 3 really cool military things here. And out of these 3, some of them made it and some of them didn't. So the whole idea is I'm going to tell you about them, you're going to ask your questions, and then you're going to try to guess whether it made it or whether it kind of flopped and fizzled out into non-existence.
Like it.
So the first one we've got to talk about is the complete opposite of what it sounds like. So it's a grenade launcher, okay? So when you think about a grenade launcher, you think area of effect damage, big explosion, just destroys everything in its path, right? So this is the complete opposite of that. This is called the XM25, and the whole goal of creating this thing was we wanted pinpoint precision of a grenade launcher. It's one of the most technologically advanced grenade launchers that was actually ever made. I believe it was it was Vietnam when it was concepted, where they needed to be able to get in areas without breaking the rules of engagement. So they need to minimize the amount of civilian casualties and destruction of property. So they couldn't call in airstrikes and they couldn't use heavy artillery. And normal grenade launchers could kind of do what they wanted, but they would destroy like whole halves of buildings and stuff like that. So they came out with this thing. This is what it looks like. It's the XM25. And it looks like something straight out of Star Trek. Like,
totally.
It's you look at it, it's got 3 different, if I'm not wrong,
optics.
Yeah, 3 different optics. It's got an infrared, it's got a standard, and then I think it has an ACOG, but it's just, it's ridiculous. It shoots a low velocity, 25 millimeter grenade, and it's quote unquote non-lethal if it hits you, but it'll flush you out of wherever you are. The whole idea was is they could shoot through a wall or a window, or it could go around a corner and it would airburst in the air. So if you had combatants on the other side of the wall, you could go through the window there and it wouldn't go straight through and hit the wall. It'd actually explode right after it gets through the window. So that's pretty crazy.
Yeah,
you know?
That is. So I know you're talking about did we use it? I don't know if we're going to talk about that because there's a lot of other things to talk about. But
yeah.
Our military was looking into this and actually put it into the hands of our soldiers,
right?
And using this thing in combat, which is pretty cool because it's almost like you say futuristic in a sense.
Yeah, and it was
right? It's almost like I don't know how to call it. It's a grenade that is not really heat sinking because it doesn't follow, but you can kind of steer it and activate it when you want. Right?
So you can steer it to a certain degree. Some of the instruments on this on the gun itself included wind measurement. It was able to detect the heat in the air. So based on the amount of heat, it would say that the elevation would fall over this amount of time. It was pretty crazy, like as far as a creation that it was. But yeah, all around, what a unique problem and a really unique solution to come about from it.
So did it ever make it? What do you think?
Well,
out there,
I think out there, audience. Is this something you would buy? What do you, if you saw this and obviously it was less than legal to go get? Would you get it?
Would I? I mean,
you're a general.
What would I? I mean, it'd be cool to have. Obviously, it'd be fun.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
Would I ever practically use it? Probably not. But I would like to own it. I would like to own every gun eventually.
You know, well, I can't blame you for that.
Why would I say no to a gun? This is actually considered a smart gun, right?
Yeah, it is considered. I think the definition of a smart gun is once the projectile leaves the gun, it's affected beyond the shooter's capabilities. So this one, for instance, once it left, it would make the calculations of its own of I see a window at this many yards, and past that window is how many yards until I explode. Or past a corner, how many yards do I explode? So those were the things that made it into a smart gun.
Now, do you program that in? How does it know?
To the best of my knowledge, it wasn't a programming thing. It was more of a select. So it had a couple different options. It had the airburst option, where it would explode once it made it a certain amount of feet or once it made it through a projectile. It had point detonation, so it would either it would hit something and then it would explode on that point. So it had quite a few options on there, and I would imagine that whoever was operating it would have a pretty user-friendly manual on it that would say select this for this, select this for this.
Well, obviously training with it and
I'm
putting
sure,
it to use.
I'm sure they don't just give it to any Joe Schmo and say, all right, good luck.
So there's a thermal sight with a zoom. There's a direct view optical sight, a ballistic computer, a digital compass, a laser rangefinder, an ammunition fuse setter, and an environmental sensor.
Right, so that ammunition fuse setter is kind of the most complex component in it. It's the thing that really makes it go a certain amount of feet and then explode. So in real time, it's setting fuses on these guys. Kind of like AA cannons when we see, they have to set how far up to the anti-aircrafts go until they explode. This was a very similar thing, except it was done all in real time within a few seconds.
Insane. What are some of the other cool things? You talked about the firing modes. It actually surprisingly only weighs 14 pounds.
Wow.
Which I would have thought it would weigh a little bit more than that. Pretty cool, man. So, would you buy it?
If I was in charge of military operations like that, I would say this is the coolest thing that we've got to get in there, because there's so many precise operations that need to happen where you're in crowded civilian areas. You could have an insurgent in one house and then this house next to it and this house next to it, they're churches or something like that. So you can't do these full-scale military airstrikes or artillery, but you got to get in there. And this seems like the perfect way. You shoot it through the window, it explodes in the middle of the air, and it pretty much disables and disorients everyone in that room, and then you've got time to get in there. So I think the whole idea behind it is amazing. Unfortunately, I'll tell you this, is that it didn't pan out. If I'm not wrong, back when they were testing this and they were getting ready to sign the contract to have a ton of them made, it exploded. They had a misfire and it exploded right on the range testing. So
Not good.
Nobody was killed, which is great, but definitely not something that you want to be pitching to the higher ups in the brass tacks. When you're like, hey, it only explodes 1 out of every 1,000, Right.
That's too bad. If they could have made that work, I would have loved to have seen a drone attachment to it.
That would have been so cool.
Right?
Yeah, it would have been so cool.
Very cool. Speaking of other cool things, I know you've got something really cool here too. You brought, I guess we should wait to see if it is really cool. Let's break this thing down.
Well, it existed.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
And it's a 22.16 enough.
Yeah, small.
Tell us a little bit about it, Grayson. What's going on here?
Oh man, so there is and may still be a weird company called the Zip Factory. Originally, that they were a tooling company that did a lot of work for other manufacturers of firearms. And then they decided that they wanted to make a really, really weird looking gun. This thing is, so looking at this first impressions, it looks like the most uncomfortable to hold thing I've ever seen.
It's where you're gonna pack this thing. You definitely aren't gonna find a holster easy for this. I could tell you that right now.
Yeah, it's pretty. Yeah. So it is. They market it as a handgun, which is weird considering how it looks. I can't really even figure how I would fit my hand around that. I had to Google it to figure out how you'd put your fingers.
Yeah. How do you hold this thing?
Yeah. Then if you look at it, you don't even see a charging handle.
Right.
So if you look right above the barrel, you'll see a little black piece of metal, and then that is actually the charging handle. And first impressions, I don't want to have my fingers anywhere close to a hot barrel.
I don't want my fingers near a barrel. Period.
Yeah. But I mean, if you're shooting this thing and then it misfires and it malfunctions, and you've got to get it unclogged and unjammed there, and you've set down on 20, 30 rounds through it, then that barrel's going to be pretty darn warm.
Yeah.
And that's not what I want near my fingers.
So they had a unique thing too, because they were trying to design this, and then they accessorized it with all the stuff that they made, right? So
right. It was like a Lego kind of. It really built on more to the standard platform. You know, the AR Armalite has done a really good job showing what a standard platform is as far as rails and mounts and stuff like that. The whole idea was to take this a whole nother step forward. So at the Zip factory, you could get extended magazines. But they would only be, you know, Zip factory extended magazines. They came in the standard, I think it was 8, then a 20, then like a 50, and then they had shoulder mounts this thing could start as such a small profile, and it could get all the way up to a subcompact, or it could even get looking like a full-size rifle with a shoulder stock and everything. It was weird. It was weird looking gun. And
now, does this have a rail on it? Do you know?
It does. Yeah, it's got a rail on the bottom, and it's got a rail on the top. And it took me a while to figure out where the ejection port is, and it's actually on the right side of the gun, right underneath the rail. So weird. I think it was the first time it was shown was back in SHOT Show in 2012, and it was not taken very well when it came out. The first couple, they made less than 100 by the time SHOT Show came around, and it was just plagued with problems. I think the average was 50 rounds before it went through it, and then it started malfunctioning. Yeah. Which is a bad number. Yeah, which is a bad number.
So I'm gonna go ahead and guess that this one never made it.
No, Zip USA, the Zip factory, they died out about a year after releasing this. I think it made like 11 or 10 months, and then they kind of discontinued it. There were very few of the accessories made. There was less than maybe a dozen of the actual like shoulder stocks, the extended mags, that kind of stuff. But now this gun, it's like the Volkswagen Beetle. They've got such a weird following, like a cult following, where these guns are, you know, pretty sought after online.
I was gonna say, my first instinct is no way I want to buy this gun. Yeah. But then again, how many people have this gun?
Not a lot. I think
not very many people have this gun.
It's like 300 or 400 of them were made, and then they couldn't. Then Zip Factory lost their FFL, and they couldn't make anymore. But very, very, very few of them. So if you see one of these guys out there, you know, even if it's like $300 or $400, just pick it up because you can just resell that online.
Right. Well, it's not a practical gun, but it is a collector's gun.
Yeah,
in a sense. So depending on how you like to spend your money and how much money you have, maybe it is one. Tell us what you think. Do you think that if you're listening out there, would you purchase this gun, Grayson? Would you?
You know, I don't remember their exact price point, but if this was like the 200 to 300 mark, I think I'd probably buy this. You know, just because it's so weird
and unique, man.
Yeah,
it's nothing like it, right?
Yeah, it's the charging. You know, a lot of things are turn-offs, like the charging handle, and just the weird overall design. But when you break that out the range, everyone's gonna be like, "What am I looking at right here?" They're gonna think it's something you MacGyver.
You made it yourself in the shop. Well, and again, the charging handle on the barrel you don't really have to worry about because you can't shoot more than 50 rounds without.
Oh, you're right. So it'll never heat up. You're good.
You don't have to worry about it. I think it's more of a collector piece. Put it on display.
Yeah.
What didn't make it?
Yeah, it's definitely weird though.
It's cool. I mean, it's cool in the sense of
even the magazines. The magazines are like little square boxes. They look like graham cracker boxes that you slap in there. They're so weird.
Pretty interesting, man. I must say, again, collector, yes. Practical, no. But not bad, not bad. Look, if you had all the money in the world, why would you not, right? If you had endless amounts of money, there's a lot of cool things that I think I would look into buying.
Right.
I would own a lot of things. In particular, this next thing I would be snatching up day one.
Yeah.
Win the lotto, here comes day one.
I think we've talked about these guys before.
Yeah, I did. I talked a little bit about this. We used to have this show, Rifling Through the News. It was a little quick news show we had on Fridays. It was just a quick thing, and this was about over a year ago, and it was just when they first started talking about this. It was just hit the internet, and man, I saw this thing, and I saw the videos on it, and I knew that my dreams were finally coming true.
Well, you know,
I know you're into cars.
I love cars.
You're into cars.
I love cars.
But you're into fast cars too, and stuff like that. And I'm not really into that as much. I mean, yeah, again, if you have all the money in the world, of course I'll get a fast car.
I was gonna say you can get a tank that goes 100 miles an hour if you have enough money, man. It's crazy.
Speaking of a tank that goes 100 miles an hour with 500 horsepower, I believe.
Yeah, 500 and horsepower, and comes with 2 engines. It can come with the it comes with a 6.4 liter that's out of a SRT, or you can get the 6.2, which is out of the Hellcat, right?
Yeah, that's 1,000 horsepower right there, I think.
Well, you need it. This thing weighs like 1 million pounds. I'm not sure if we have the exact weight here, but it's something absolutely monstrous.
I'm not even sure, but let's tell them what this thing is.
Okay. So Resvani is a overseas company that specializes in making luxury products, specifically in vehicles. They took on building something that's kind of like a Hummer, you know. It's built to last. It's built to be a super tank. So they couldn't come up with a more creative name than the Resvani tank.
Right.
And they have the Resvani tank is just out of this world. It is, you know when companies make stuff for the president, they make like a Lincoln with bulletproof windows, bulletproof doors, that kind of stuff. That's exactly what this is, except it's just made for the everyday guy. You can just go out there and buy one.
The everyday guy. With night vision and lights and smoke screens and all kinds of crazy cool stuff on this vehicle.
Yeah.
It's for the average guy for the most part.
I think the average guy would enjoy that pretty much, you know. I think myself being the average guy would very much want that.
For sure. I know you're an average guy, and I'm the average guy as well. And, of course, we both are going to want this, but the average guy probably can't afford it.
Yeah, I think if it starts out at $300,000.
Yeah,
Starts
entry level.
Then they have like the Tank X, which gets up to like a million or something like that. It's just a crazy astronomical number.
Yeah, and there's so many cool features on this. I think one of the ones that stood out to me is it has that electromagnetic pulse.
Yeah, the EMP protection. Yeah, that's crazy, man.
Oh man, yeah, that's pretty insane.
That's one of the things that not a lot of people realize is that unless you have a car that's before the 60s or before the 50s, if we get hit by an EMP, then your car isn't going to move at all. There's so much complex computers in cars now that you're pretty much out of luck. But this manufacturer, Resvani, really thought about that, and they're like, there's not a whole lot of cars that are on the market that offer this. A lot of them offer the same shiny bells and whistles, like gas protection, run flat tires, great suspension, that kind of stuff. But if your car doesn't start and doesn't move because there's something wrong with the electrical, you're out of luck. So I think that's probably one of the coolest things.
I do too.
But I think the second one is the night vision because well, it's not only just night vision. They equipped it with a second pair of headlights that are infrared lights. So you turn off your headlights and you're driving at night and you turn on these infrared lights, and to everyone around you, you're completely invisible. You're driving at night out off-roading and no one can see you. But these infrared lights, when you turn it on, it lights everything up with those with the night vision.
And no one sees you with headlights on. You're just driving in the dark.
You're driving in the dark with headlights on,
cool.
but nobody can see you.
And they have the high intensity lighting too, so you can blind, basically.
It's crazy.
Blinding people.
Yeah.
Smoke screen. I don't know if it's on this list, but I remember looking at one of the things that's pretty cool. You can leave a smoke screen.
It is literally like a James Bond car.
Yeah,
it is
totally.
This is the car that James Bond's villain gets into that he's chasing, and he's shooting through the window and nothing's happening. He's like, I just don't get it.
Yeah, and I know they didn't spare any expense, on the braking systems. Basically, like you were saying, the ballistics on the doors and the windows. So many things that they did not spare.
And it's not even just like they also are, they're a luxury company. Right. So one, they did all of these very practical aspects, but it comes with options. Like you take the best leather that goes in the best part of the Lamborghini, and then you take the top 1% of that, and that's what the chairs are covered in, and then you can get the dash covered in that same leather, and it's just it's not very practical. But it's
sweet.
It's the most luxury that you can really buy with money anyway.
So I know you'd probably say you'd buy it.
I'd definitely buy it. This thing is freaking cool. Like it is so cool. I'd buy this in a heartbeat. I just I would love to see one of these around here in the States. But I don't think we ever will. But if we do, I'm gonna go. Hey, you gotta let me drive this car, man.
Let's do it. a lot of other features you could probably find online.
Yeah.
I know there's a couple notes here about there's 10 different styles of seats you can choose from, little things like that. I mean, all the little things, bits and pieces from $300,000 to $1 million. You can build this thing pretty ridiculous. It's kind of the ultimate vehicle.
It is, and when you get into the different kinds of seats, a lot of these manufacturers are doing. Resvani is one of them. Is you can actually send like a 3D scan of your body, and they will make the seat like perfectly contoured to you. So you sit in it, and it's going to be like the most comfortable seat you've ever seen. It's perfectly built for you. But
the future is here.
It is so.
You have brought it today, Grayson.
So
the future
cool.
to us. Thank you very much. Anything else you want to cover on the Resvani tank?
Is it something you'd buy?
100%. I would buy it if I had a ton of money, but
yeah, that's expensive. It's expensive. That's $300.
It is.
It's I always think that even if I had a couple million sitting in the bank, it'd be a hard purchase to go justify that kind of spending $300,000 on a car.
Yeah, well, I would probably buy it, use it for a little bit, and then I would sell it.
Yeah.
And then I would donate money to all the homeless shelters and water wells.
Make the world a better place.
Third world countries.
Yeah.
Of course.
You wouldn't use it to buy you wouldn't use it to buy tanks and guns.
Ammo. No, of course I wouldn't do that.
You're above that. Well, I'm
sure it'd be safe to carry your family around in, so I'm thinking about my family too.
Oh yeah, of course. You're doing it for your family. That's what you're gonna do. I had to, honey. Don't you want to feel safe?
Don't you feel safe unless you don't even need a car seat for your babies?
Yeah, I think you'd probably plow through any. If something hit you, I think that their car would just get demolished.
Pretty sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
They're slick looking too. I like the contours on the body of the vehicle itself. It's just pretty cool design.
It's you look at that new Tesla truck, and that thing is ugly. It is so ugly. If they would have made it look more like this, I feel like it would have been more well received.
It's appealing,
people.
man.
It is.
You don't want to drive around some weird spaceship looking thing. We're not that far in the future yet.
Not yet.
This is where we're at right now. It's a powerful tank.
Oh man.
For the civilian. Throw a 50 cal on top of that thing even.
I bet you could. I mean, I bet you really could.
Does it come with option?
I wish it. I'm
Optional mounts.
I was gonna say this is overseas. I'm sure you could get it done for as long as you had enough money.
Yeah.
They stop asking questions when you get over $300,000. I think.
Right.
Like just give him whatever he wants.
So you gonna buy this thing?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, perfect. Can I get a ride in it?
Yeah, definitely.
Sweet. I can't wait.
We'll take it to the loan agency.
What color?
Oh man, I'd probably get. It depends where I lived at the time. I'd probably get a tan. If this is made overseas over in the Middle East, it'd make a lot more sense to get like a tan color so it blends in a lot with the sand and stuff like that. But if I was gonna get it here, I'd love to get like an Arctic camo. That'd be so cool. Get a custom Arctic camo wrap on it. So when you're out in the woods, you could take this. It's very luxury, but this is a practical car. You can drive it up in the woods and go hunting with it.
Absolutely.
It'd be so cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have this if you're hunting anymore though, or you're just having someone hunt for you.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. Well, I like it. I wouldn't change a thing. I'll take one today.
Yeah.
Sign me up for free. Thank you. Thanks for being here, Grayson.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
That's the podcast that we're doing. We'll be putting those out pretty often, so make sure you subscribe to everybody listening, following us.
Yeah. Right now we're on Spotify, Apple Music. I think we're trying to get to one other platform. We're also going to be dropping this on our YouTube as well. So if you're watching this instead of listening to this, we really encourage you to make sure you're getting us subscribed on Spotify because you'll get an update every time we push one of these out. We don't really have a schedule yet. We're going to try to get right now every other week or once a month. Once we get this one out and we see how long it took to produce it, we'll have a better understanding of that. But the one thing is if we want to keep making these, we got to get some views.
Right.
So if you love this, make sure you share this podcast. Make sure you're checking it out on YouTube. You're sending it to your friends. So we'll be able to bring you the coolest podcast you'll ever see.
Cool. Awesome, man. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Congrats, and thanks for coming, and I'll look forward to the next time.
Yep.
All right. We'll see all y'all later. Thanks for tuning in. And from all of us at Alien Gear, please carry safe, carry in comfort, and carry on.